Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to be back. A lot of you have been asking to give you an update on my life and exactly where I am, how I've been, and what I've been doing, and what I've done since my last YouTube video that I posted 6 months ago that was titled How I Make $60,000 a Month. Well, officially now I'm making about $150 to $160 a month, and that's just as of today, a week before the March 1st begins. So I want to dive deep into basically what I've done in the last 6 months, how I accelerated the growth to, increasing my MRR to over $150,000 a month. And I want to show you guys exactly the steps that I took and what has been basically happening in my life up to those points. I am back. After 6 months of not really posting anything on YouTube, I'm finally back on YouTube. The main reason is because I've been so busy these last 6 months, I literally did not have the time because of how much was going on in my life. So many things that were taking place, so many things that were happening, going on vacation, my job, should I say quitting my job, and so many things that basically have led up to this point. The last video I released 6 months ago was titled How I Make $60,000 a Month, and that's how much my business was generating every single month 6 months ago. As of right now, the week before March begins, just last month, the revenue was around $150,000, and this is slow season. So I'm on my way to closely making $200,000 a month within the next 2-3 months, and that's basically where I am now. So in this video, I want to basically go over my business, how I've increased so much in these last 6 months, what I've done by quitting my job, all the things that I've done these last 6 months that basically have led to this point. So without further ado, let's get down to it. Let's fast forward to my last YouTube video. July 30th, I posted it. Let's say August 1st. August 1st, I was in Dallas and Philadelphia, and I was still working my 9-to-5 job. And at this point in August, I was living in Windsor, Ontario. I just moved back from Philly. I was now officially back working my 9-to-5 job as an engineer in Detroit, Michigan. And I was actually living at home with my wife and live with my parents in the basement in Windsor, Ontario. And commuting to work every single day, working 9-to-5, whatever, working my job, and then basically working on the business remotely from home. And really it got to that point was I realized, I'm actually stalling. I started watching a lot more YouTubers online. The one YouTuber that I watched that really helped, change my mental thought process was Alex Hormozi. So after I started watching a lot of his videos, I realized that I'm actually pigeonholing myself by actually living, in my current situation. So the first thing I had to do was get out of living in that small town in Canada and move to Detroit, Michigan, and basically change in that sense, right? But before I did that, I wanted to make sure I had something going on. So because I'm, in Detroit, working in Detroit, I realized, let's expand the business to Detroit City. And at that point, I didn't really know how viable Detroit was as the market, it's compared to Dallas or Philly or, any other big city. The thing was, though, is that when I personally wanted to go book a hotel in Detroit one night, it was on a Tuesday, and I literally could not find a hotel that had any vacancy. And the cheapest hotel I found on a Tuesday, guys, was around, I think, $255 for the night, right? That's when I realized, all right, if all these hotels in downtown Detroit are being booked and the cheapest I can find is $250, there's definitely a market for corporate housing and short-term rentals and Airbnbs in Metro Detroit. And that's what I did. So first thing I did was I basically reached out to as many buildings as possible and basically landed a nice big fat whale in Detroit City. And the move-ins were scheduled for September 1st, and I realized, I need to make this happen and transition and move to Detroit itself. So that's what I did. I moved to Detroit. So I moved to Detroit in September, and at this time I added more units in Dallas, I added more units in Detroit, and I started actually living in one of the units, living in one of my Detroit units. Now, as I'm living in my Detroit units, expanding the business, working my 9-to-5 still, and that's basically all I was doing for the last, September, October, November. Get to November now, guys. I've expanded to Austin, and I'm expanding more in Detroit, and Detroit's doing really well. I've been expanding more in Dallas, right? Things are just going and going and going, and that's basically what I've been doing. Working 9-to-5, coming home, working on the business, going to sleep. That's all it was. Then I realized something is that I am wasting a lot of my time during my day working my job. I'm literally waking up at 6:30, commuting for 40 minutes, getting to work at 8 o'clock. By the time I get home, it's 5:30, 5:45. And at that point, I'm super tired. If I want to go to the gym, if I want to work out, that's an extra hour and a half. Add on top of that, having some social time with my wife or doing anything productive, maybe let's cut it down to maybe an hour of my time, right? So I was only working on the business for about an hour per day for all of September, October, November, okay? And anytime I wanted to expand, had meetings with buildings, had meetings with owners, I literally had to take a day off from work, or I had to go on the weekend. And it was a huge drag and a huge waste of my time. And I realized that I could be using my time a lot more productively than actually just, spending in 1 hour per day. So I made the big decision in December. I'm like, you know what? I'm quitting my job. It's not worth it anymore. I told my boss I quit, and that was basically it. Here's the one thing that I realized is that the minute I quit my job, everything changed and opportunities just started flying through the door, okay? Social media is actually one of the big things that I've been working on in the last 6 to 8 weeks. I started really going hard on social media, specifically TikTok, at the end of December. So it's been about 6 to 7 weeks now since I've actually started diving deep into social media. And that's really what I've been doing. As soon as I quit my job, I picked up the phone and had my team start dialing, start doing sales, and just start expanding the business as much as we possibly could. So as of right now, guys, I think currently as of March 1st, which is in about a week, I'll be staying at around 106 units through Philly, Dallas, Austin, Des Moines, Iowa, and Detroit. With Detroit being the largest out of the portfolio, it's almost half the entire portfolio. I actually plan to open an office warehouse in Detroit and have my headquarters station in Detroit because of how big the operation is. And that's the thing is, like, I realized that, you know what, I need to have an actual office space now. I need to have an actual place where I can do work, because before, I didn't even have a desk to work on when I was living in my small 1-bedroom apartment in downtown. I was literally sitting on the floor, sitting on the sofa, and it wasn't an actual productive environment. I started going to WeWork here and there, and I saw the productivity actually increase tenfold. So that's the thing is that, you know what, I realized I need to actually open an office, hire a city manager, in-house hire cleaners. There's so much that has to get done in Detroit to basically completely monopolize the entire city, okay? Now, in terms of revenue for the business, just last month in January, the total entire business from all my units was around 150,000, okay? That's not counting all the new units that are starting March 1st for Iowa, more units in Detroit. None of those are counted towards that. That's just currently what I have: 10 in Philly, 22 in Dallas, 5 in Austin, 7 in the suburbs of Michigan, and 28 active in Detroit right now. So by March 1st, I'll be at 106. So hopefully, closely within the next 2-3 months, this 150K per month should go to 250K per month. So that's what I've been really working on, is basically explosive growth and expansion. And hopefully I get there within the next few months. And now that I have the time to actually get there and work on my business full time and dedicate my entire day to growth, operations, and scale, I can definitely get there. Now that I have the time to work my business and dedicate my full-time attention to operations, scale, and growth, I can definitely get to making 250 to 300K a month just within the next 3-4 months easily. Another thing that I started doing is I started actually doing consulting and mentoring for different people that are trying to get into this business. So here's a fun experiment that I ran. There's a lot of people out there selling courses and bullshit online that don't really have a viable business. They don't have an actual company. They're just randoms that are just basically capping on the internet. I created one Instagram story. Guys, I'm hosting a mentorship masterclass, 7-hour masterclass, covering everything from top to bottom. $1,000 a person, who's in? I was expecting, you know what, maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4 people. 29 people showed up for that 7-hour masterclass. Okay, so $29,000, guys, I made literally within a span of 4 or 5 hours, and this was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I then recorded that masterclass, and then I sold it for another $1,300 a person, and I have made, I think, $75,000 just from that course alone in the last 5 or 6 weeks, right? So in terms of like social media, I realized the power of social media and how authentic you are in social media. People actually value that, right? They value me actually being very transparent in my business, showing them every single thing behind the scenes operations, how the actual structure of the company is, and people want that. People want to see that transparency, and I realized people will actually pay for that. So that's what I've been really working on, is basically building my startup from a open view where everyone can see the ins and outs of the industry and the ins and outs of this business. So currently right now I'm actually living in the suburbs area. I'm not actually living in downtown Detroit anymore. I'm living in a nice area, and I plan to actually move out of Michigan completely within the next 4 to 5 months and move to either Dallas or Austin. I still can't decide which city to move to, mainly because I've been to both and there's so much to do in both. So I have about 4 or 5 months to decide where I'm actually going to move to, and whichever city I move to, that's the city I'm really just going to settle down in and start a life there. But until then, guys, I'm just going to be grinding every single day, working as hard as I can to keep growing this company, keep growing as fast as I can, hiring more employees, increasing operations, increasing efficiencies, building out the automation, building out software processes, just basically getting to where I need to be, to where I can, really make 10 million, 20 million, $30 million a year. And that's the thing, is that I stopped watching a lot of YouTubers, guys, that, are at that same level of mine, because what they really have to offer me is nothing that I can't really do myself, or I know myself. Now the YouTubers that I'm actually watching are YouTubers that are making 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year. 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 is one of those guys that I've been watching every single one of his videos every single day. There's a couple others I've been watching, and the information they give you is actually very applicable once you start making 100K a month, because they were in the same situation, right? So they figured out how to make $1 million a month. So that's what I'm trying to do right now with my business. I'm trying to figure out, how can I scale, how can I efficiently and effectively grow to making 300, 400, 500K per month, right? It's definitely possible. It just takes time, right? Everything takes time. It just takes patience, and it takes sheer willpower and determination. And if you stick to it, it will eventually happen. So guys, that's basically it. That's what I've been up to these last 6 months. I've been very, very busy. I actually did take a nice little vacation for about a month. I went to Dubai, and I went to Saudi Arabia. I went to Umrah. And the entire time while I was there, my business ran completely fine, perfectly, without any issues whatsoever. Not once did I have to answer the phone for anything, because I was actually in a completely different time zone anyways. And that was actually a test of mine to see what would actually happen if I exited myself from the business for an entire month. And I want to see how the business would operate and how the business would function. And as I knew, nothing went wrong. The entire company ran perfectly without any issues whatsoever. We even furnished 5 units in Dallas completely remotely while I was gone, while my entire team did the entire setup and the entire process for me. So that goes to show there's a difference between actually working in your business, and the difference is working on your business. When you're actually working on your business, then you have time to focus on things that actually matter. High value ticket items, high value CEO level decisions that can actually expand your growth. So guys, thanks so much for listening in. I'm definitely going to be posting a lot more on YouTube, but where I really post the most right now is TikTok. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I post there the most, but I definitely plan to start posting on YouTube a lot more often now. Thanks so much. Until next time. Now, if you guys are interested in buying my course, it is available for sale in my Instagram bio. Just click the link and you can purchase it. It's about 7 hours long and includes a bunch of material that you guys need to basically get to where I am and how I got here. Now, I'm going to tell everybody this. You do not have to buy any material from anybody. It's majority of the stuff that you see online is a bunch of bullshit. I never bought anything. I learned everything from scratch. But if you value your time, and you're someone who actually values the amount of time you spend on learning an acquired skill, then I recommend buying it, because it basically fast tracks everything you need to learn all within a 7-hour course. If you don't want to spend the money, you don't have to. Literally everything, guys, is out there for you for free, and it's out there all online. You don't have to spend a single dollar, but it is going to speed up the process. That's basically it. So until next time, guys, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. That's where I post mainly. And until next time, see you.